Okay, now I think the audience has waited long enough. Now we move to the topic of Bitcoin. Yes, I
Yeah.
think that's what the audience is waiting for. So, how did you discover Bitcoin as a great alternative to fiat currencies?
So, in my mind, I'd always been looking for something like Bitcoin before Bitcoin was even existed. I was already aware of a lot of these problems about fiat money before Bitcoin. And for me at that time, the solution was gold. So when I first heard about Bitcoin, I don't even remember when I first heard about it, but I remember for the first 2, 3 years that I heard about it, I thought, ha ha ha, computer people think that they can do something better than gold. What do they know? This is going to be a disaster. If you know Peter Schiff, I was exactly like Peter Schiff when I first heard about Bitcoin. But I heard about Bitcoin when Bitcoin was under $1, and I kept laughing at it until it hit about $1,000. And I'm just sitting there saying it's going to collapse, it's going to die, government's going to shut it down, government will throw them in jail. And because of that, I didn't pay much attention to it because I just thought, obviously it's going to die, so why should I waste my time reading and learning about it? Because, very stupid thing to do, to assume that you know things so you don't need to learn about them because you already know them. It's the stupid trap, where you're just stuck in the fact that, well, you don't know what you don't know, but you are sure that you know it. So because of that, I spent a lot of time not considering Bitcoin. Then around 2014, I started thinking, okay, maybe this thing can work, maybe it won't die. And here we are 10 years later and it's still working.
20 minutes ago, I was very, very excited because you told me Bitcoin is now worth $1 trillion. It might go up to $300 trillion. I was very, very excited. So what makes Bitcoin unique? There are already millions of altcoins in circulation. And isn't it possible that someone creates a cryptocurrency which is more convenient, technologically advanced, and or more universally accepted than Bitcoin?
I don't think they can create something like Bitcoin or better than Bitcoin, because the tricky part about Bitcoin is not something that is just in code that you can copy. You can copy the code, but you can't copy the magic juice that made it so special. And specifically, this is the case for Bitcoin because Bitcoin was the first. So it was the only one that was truly neutral, so nobody could control it. And the person who did it disappeared. And he disappeared, and Bitcoin continued to grow without him, and it grew for now 14 years without the owner. Once you had a currency that was neutral and can grow without its owner, then everybody who's looking for a neutral currency that nobody controls is going to go to that currency. And then everybody else who's looking for something that they can control is going to make their own currency. So the only currencies that remain after that are currencies that somebody built who can control. So in my mind, you can't, after Bitcoin, you can't go recreate it. Make a new digital currency, let it grow, have it grow without you being in charge of it. And if you're in charge of it, then you can change everything about it. So it's really the challenge of being able to create something and not control it. That's the really difficult part, I think.
Okay, so the magic juice, as you say, is neutrality and nobody controlling it, right? Mm-hmm. That's the major point. Okay, now let's move to the future. For a while, fiat currencies and Bitcoin will coexist with each other, I guess. And what do you see after that? Because trust in fiat currencies will continue to diminish as their values keep falling. For example, can you imagine that a new kind of gold standard is coming?
In the fiat standard, in the last chapter, I say that if governments want to kill Bitcoin, the best thing that they can do is go on a gold standard. Because most people think, okay, if government bans Bitcoin, then Bitcoin dies. But in reality, it's usually the other way around. In fact, if you ban Bitcoin, you are telling people your money in the bank is not your money, because I can tell you what to do with your money in the bank. And that just wakes people up. Oh, wow, they can tell me what to buy. Would be great for me to have a form of money that they can't tell me what to do with. Maybe I should get into Bitcoin. So trying to ban Bitcoin is advertising Bitcoin, because they can't stop it. So they're just telling you, no, this thing is really good for you and bad for us. You can't use it, please don't. And that's just an invitation to use it. So I think realistically, there's no chance that they would go on a gold standard. They've left the gold standard for a good reason. Well, good reason for them, bad reason for us. Good reason for them that it allows them to print money, and they want that, and they're not gonna give it up happily. And I also think realistically gold is just too old for a modern economy. If the world wants to go on a gold standard, it's not just about changing the dollar sign on your balance sheet. What it means is that every country is going to have to start settling with the central bank of every other country with physical gold. So Korea trades with China. That means that when you settle at the end of the month or the end of the week, Korea has to send China gold bars, physical gold bars. And then China has to receive them, and China has to verify them. How do you verify that gold is real and not fake? With the big gold bars, you can only do one thing. You have to melt the whole gold bar down and then cast it again. So imagine how expensive this process is, and imagine how much cheaper and more efficient it is to do it with Bitcoin, because currently for less than $1, you can move $1 billion from Korea to China and verify that it's true. If you wanted to move $1 billion of gold from Korea to China, it would take many months and costs many millions of dollars to be able to pull it off.
So you're mentioning the scalability across space problem, right? Which gold cannot really solve, right? But Bitcoin can solve the problem. So how do you realistically see the future? Will you have kind of a Bitcoin standard, or will you have Bitcoin and fiat standard together in maybe, I don't know, 30, 50 years?
I think we're likely to see the two coexist for a while, but I don't think that that is going to last for a very long time. Eventually, people are just going to upgrade for the better money. And I think what happens is the Bitcoin-based economy is currently about less than 1% of the fiat economy. It's going to grow and become a bigger and bigger and bigger percentage, and then it becomes even bigger than the fiat economy, and then the fiat economy continues to shrink. Now, when that happens, I don't have a crystal ball. It's difficult to make time predictions, but I would say not before 10 years, hopefully before 30 years. So somewhere between 10 and 30 years we'll get that switch. Probably 10 is too early. Maybe somewhere between 20 and 40 years, I would say.
That really sounds very exciting. So the last question for you, you say saving makes investments possible, and gold and bitcoins are saving assets which appreciates in value. But then that means you can actually increase your net worth by doing nothing, just holding Bitcoin or gold. But then how can potential entrepreneurs which have no money get some money, because you have less incentives to invest, right?
So I think the problem with this question is that the value of money can only increase if people are investing. So the premise is flawed in a sense that if people are not investing, then the value of money is not increasing. But even if the value of money is increasing, people will still invest, because investment can offer you a better return than just holding the money. And I think more saving leads to more investment, because the way that it functions is, first of all, you have money. The basic impulse that you have is to spend it all. We all want to spend all of the money that we have. We can't eat the money, we can't enjoy the money itself, but we can enjoy the things that it buys us. So as human beings, we just want the goods, the food, the houses, the clothes, whatever it is. So first step is we have money, we want to spend it all. Second step is, no, let's save some. As you start accumulating saving, you save so that you can provide for your future self. Once you reach a certain level of savings, then you start thinking about investing. And so as the savings appreciate more and grow in value more, you have more savings, therefore you have more ability to invest. Rather than the other way around, whereas what the Keynesians try to do is, if we destroy the value of your savings, then we just print new money and then people invest the new money. But all that you're doing in that sense is that you're taking the capital and the savings from the hands of their owners and putting them in the hands of the central bank, which decides where the investments go. And so that's a form of central planning, effectively.
So now, finally, we have to conclude the discussion. Let me add two things. The first one, before I came here, I was not a Bitcoin maximalist. Now I am.
Congratulations.
And second one, I also wrote a book about Bitcoin, generally about Bitcoin trading, and I told something about where in this bull market, Bitcoin might go up to 150,000 where I will correct my estimate upwards.
Best of luck. I think.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, it's tempting. If Bitcoin goes up, it's tempting to sell some, but then again, you never know when it stops going up. So Remember, it's very risky to hold on to fiat. If you sell Bitcoin, you're stuck with fiat. There's no alternative. You're stuck with something that's losing value. So it's a very risky thing. Be careful.
True, true.
Yes, because I think the correct thing against which you value it is not its past performance. I think it's its future potential. And so potentially, I think currently about 0.5% of the world's cash balances are in Bitcoin. I don't think that Bitcoin is worse than the other 99.5%. In other words, if think about it as like a phone. If a new phone company comes up and they have 0.5% of the phone market, but you've tried their phone and it's better than all the others, much better than all the others, realistically, you don't expect their market share to remain at 0.5%. So I think Bitcoin's market share likely grows a lot, but we can't make more Bitcoins. So the only way that the market share can grow is through the growth in the value of the Bitcoins. And the biggest weakness of Bitcoin is the fact that, it's not so much a weakness, it's the limitation. Ultimately, everything has a limitation. Bitcoin can only do about 1 million transactions a day. That's the maximum that it can do, which is obviously not enough for the whole world. It's not even enough for one neighborhood in Seoul. There are more than million transactions in one neighborhood in the city. So it's obviously not enough for everybody to use it on-chain. And it's clear that Bitcoin is going to have to scale through second and third layer solutions. And the more capacity we have, the more robust these scaling solutions are, and the less vulnerable they are to the government, to government attack. So if it was up to me, I'd like to have Bitcoin have 10 times the current capacity. What I would advise young people is find a way to serve other people that is valuable, to give people something that they want, figure out what you can do that is good for others. Everybody tells you you want to do what you love. I think that's terrible advice. You want to do what other people love. Work is not about you. Work is about serving others. So find what other people want, find how to serve them, focus on it so that you get better and better and better at it. The more you serve them, the more money you will have. And everything that you want comes from being able to give other people what they want. So focus on that, work hard, serve people, and then spend less than you earn, always, and put the difference in Bitcoin. And hold it in Bitcoin for the long term. I think it is a blessing to have people who read my work. It's something that I don't take for granted. It's something that I'm very grateful for. I'm happy to travel halfway around the world to see you and to thank you for appreciating my work. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.